Over the past few weeks, or actually the past month, I've gotten to know Brandon Armstrong pretty well, and there's no doubt that he has a true heart for the Lord as well as the youth of our community. Brandon Armstrong is a pastor at the Fraser Park Church in Covington. He's a student counselor at Brighton High School. And after extensively meeting with him last week, I'm very confident that the Lord is using Brandon's strengths and passions to further his kingdom within his career. So we are honored to have such a respected figure within our community with us tonight. And so it's with great thanks and honor that I give you Mr. Brandon Armstrong.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Am I on? Can you hear me? Thank you, Mr. Yarbrough. Listen, I've been very, very interested over the last 4 or 5 months now, just getting a chance to work with a lot more teenagers, I guess the junior seniors in our county, and it's been very, very interesting. And when Mr. Yarbrough called me and talked to me about this kind of fits real well with, I believe, the emphasis, even the spirit or the attitude that's going on in the county right now, where there's a great, great emphasis and detail on making sure that our young people really progress and advance beyond education, but really get it right with the attitude, number one, and then be able to accomplish something. So I'm excited about being here tonight, guys. Look, can we give God praise tonight that we got families that are here, we got great kids, we got a great school, yeah, we got a great school where we can send our kids to. We got great sports, we got great academics. Listen, I'm real close. Y'all wait for me now. I'm getting my kid over here, all right? I'm getting my son. I'm trying. I'm matriculating just a little bit, steady by a little bit at a time. I'm getting there because I'm very excited about the people that's here. I love the friends that I have here. I love the administration, the staff. I mean, it's real big. It's big time, guys. It's big time because I'm real big in making sure that my son, my family have that godly Christian, if you want to call it, environment, atmosphere of learning. That's huge. I love the families that's associated with this because it's very, very important on how we advance and be able to raise our kids up. I know we have the parent like myself that would say, hey, I'm the one that takes care of my child in the house, and so even if I send them to public school, et cetera, they'll be all right. This is what I know. My son is something powerful. Every night we pray together. We talk. I have deep discussions with the 7-year-old, guys. I'm talking about real interesting things happen with 7-year-old boys, and especially when you start talking to them about God and spiritual matters. And what I'm finding out is my son, I for a minute there, I thought he was not getting along or he didn't have support or friends at the school he was at. All right. And what I discovered was it's not that other kids didn't like him, or it's not that he was having a hard time getting along. This is what I found out, and you know it to be true. I found out that what I was teaching him, other kids' parents wasn't teaching them. That was big. That's all it was. And he was wondering, why are they being mean to me? Well, they're not being mean to you. They just get taught something a little different than we do, and now we have to learn that and adapt to it, and we can be there to model a certain lifestyle for other children and other parents. I think that's huge. That's huge. But I do think like Moses' mother would see that there was going to be a death coming to her child, and she said, I'm protecting that baby. We're going to send him down the river and get him away from all the bad stuff. There are moments where we have to protect our children, and we got to have them. And I think this is a great, great sanctuary for education, a great, great place. If I can do that, I just wanted to applaud you guys because this is an outsider. If that means anything to you, it means something to me. I'm an outsider, so to speak, looking in on your school and what goes on, and I get to be here. I get to come in and speak to 7th and 8th grade classes, Miss Beth Witherington, and so I get to see the attitude and the mindset of the children and the families here, and it is awesome. It is. It's great. Thank you guys for being an example. I appreciate that, all right? From an outsider looking in, that's attractive. That's big. That's godly, and we want that. We need that in our city. We do. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. All right, I want to get into something real quick. And that is simply this. We got our athletes here, man, our swimmers, our soccer. Put my man right here. Good to see you, bro. We got our soccer play. What is it? Soccer. We got golf. We got track and cross country. Cross country, swimming. Is that it? Is that what we're looking at right here? All right. So I know we got our athletes. So I want to speak to you about something. If I can one word it, if I wanted to one word it, it'd be greatness tonight. I want to talk to you about greatness. If you want to make it personal, all my young people, even my parents, you would say, I want to be the greatest. I do. I want to be the greatest. And I think everybody in here at some points, especially in sports, and some of my older people, you can identify with this as well, that there is a greatness identity, or at least aspiration that we all have, where we want to be the best at what it is we do. Yes? Talk to me. It's all right. Talk to me. Because I want to be the best at what I do, because I believe that's a reflection of the God that I serve. Is that if I work and if I execute in the spirit of excellence, then that's attractive. Your Bible actually speaks of it this way, that you do these works, right? You actually love one another. You do what God has called you. It says that men would look at you and see what you've done, right, because of your good works, and they would glorify your Father which is in heaven. That's a powerful thing. So here it is. If the world is ever going to know that we are His disciples, it said we must have love one for another. We must be able to execute in the spirit of love, humility, and excellence. That's powerful. And so in athletics, man, there's always the attitude of saying, hey, I want to be the greatest. I want to be the best. I really want to do it. I want to execute it. Maybe, and sometimes we want to say, I want to execute it better than somebody else. And so that's kind of the idea, is I really want to be great at what it is I want to do. But you understand, just like I do, there's always certain limitations or hurdles that we got to go through to be able to get to this point of excellence or greatness. One of them being fear. I think that's a big one. And for my young people, feel me right now, all right? Really get with me on this, on what I'm about to say. Fear is very, very critical. It's crippling, if I can say it that way. It's very crippling. I was in the 6th grade at Crestview Middle School, and this has been some time ago. I'm not very old, but I'm old enough, all right? And it's 6th grade, so y'all help me out with the age. 11? Somewhere in there, right? Yeah, 11, 12 years old. And I won't get into the detail of it, but we had an incident at a ball game, and it struck fear in my heart to where this is what happened. Never again did I get cut from playing sports. I quit. I didn't pick up a basketball and play for a school. I said I'll just play at home, because what happened that night was so traumatic and tragic that I said, it's not worth it. It's no need. We have obstacles that we come on, and things that approach us, present itself, strikes fear. Sometimes it's the fear of what happens at you or towards you or around you. Sometimes it's the fear that we have of are we actually good enough to be able to participate, right? Like, I don't know if I would fit in swimming very well. There may be some hesitation there, even if I like to, because I'd say, look, I really want to be good enough at least to compete. At least to compete. I want to be good enough. Then on top of that, compounded, am I better than the next man? And so I get struck with more fear compounded on, am I better than you? And we get in this thing about comparison a lot of times, young people. We compare ourselves with other people. I really believe this is like the heart of what Jesus taught when He said, judge not, that you be not judged. I think He really got into this dynamic about, hey, don't compare. Because when you start comparing, you either lift yourself up higher than you should, or you degrade yourself lower than you should. You're never as bad as you think you are, and you're never as great as you think you are. Right? I mean, that's just the truth. And so there's a fear that comes in. Am I better than the next man? Am I good enough? Will I make it? There's a fear of failure. Will I ever? What happens if I don't make the team? What happens if I lose? What happens? We get struck with these fears. We do. We get them. We have them. I think fear is this. I think a lot of times we equate defeat to us playing the game and losing. Real defeat is fear, because fear is really defeat without trying. Y'all hear what I'm saying? It's defeat without trying. And that's big. So this is what all of us need. One thing we need, everybody in this room needs to be challenged. Everybody in this room needs to be challenged in some form or another. We need to be challenged because regardless of the fear, every one of us needs to be challenged. Now, what I did not say is every one of us needs to be in competition. Notice I'm about to break this down just a little bit, all right? Yeah, because we compete a lot, and there is a slight difference. Because our world will tell us that we should compete against each other. Because competition is you trying to outdo the next man. Where challenge is where I'm presented with an opportunity for what's in me to be revealed. And everybody in this room needs to be challenged because sometimes we're strapped by fear, by failure, by defeat, whatever the thing could be. But the truth is we all need to be confronted and challenged. Now, I know away with this world's idea about compete and competition and outdo the next man and get on top and get ahead by any means necessary. I think that's a big issue that we have today. We do. And in our sports, we definitely don't need the attitude of trying to outdo the next man because the real ingredient to being great is when you're challenged by the next man, not necessarily to outdo him or to one being better than the other, but is when that other one, that other boy, that other girl, man, woman, they bring something out of you that you've been sitting on for a long time. And everybody in here needs that, where you get woke up one day and you say, it's time to rumble. I need something to challenge me. I need something greater than what I've been in. I got to have that. I got to have it. And so that's what we need when it gets in, because what we don't need is to outdo one another. I think James and John said this. If you guys, my Bible scholars in here, right? Are you with me? You know what they were called? They were actually called the sons of thunder. Yeah, these dudes were aggressive guys. You know what they said one day? They saw some dudes actually like doing miracles. They looked at them and said, oh, whoa, listen. My man, you can't do that. We need you to stop. Because you're not with us. You're not part of this team. Right? He said, don't do that. He runs back to Jesus and said, hey, Jesus, look, we told him to stop. We told him they was like healing the man, but we told him to stop because, they ain't with us. They're not with us, so we shut that down. We shut that down. Jesus said, hold. Don't do that. The attitude of competition creeps in, and you think because they're not with me that they shouldn't be doing it even when it's good. And so the competition says, hold on, we got to shut that down. But Jesus said, look, if they're not against us, they're for us. They're on our side. And challenge does this right here. Challenge brings something out, this scripture that's very, very famous. You remember it, Philippians 4:13. It goes along the lines about, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. That is so huge. And I know it's cliche. Unfortunately, it's cliche in our churches, is where something so powerful as that has been discarded as being cute and just catchy to say, I can do all things. And I wonder how many of us do all things. Right? Seriously, I can do all things. You know what it says? It's twofold. It says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me the strength. So number one, my faith in myself is directly connected to my faith in Jesus. Yeah. So for my young people, every time, look at me. There is no need for anybody in this room to ever doubt yourself when you are completely drenched and sold out for Jesus Christ. Because that right there is where you get your strength. And for you to renege on that, for you to turn on it and act like it does not exist, it's not that you say you can't do it. What you're really saying is, I don't believe Jesus got the strength for me to do it. And right now I'm telling everybody in this room, you can because he did. You can because he has the power. So I just rather lean on his power than my own. And that's a real big deal, because if I'm going to say I can do all things through Christ, that starts talking to me right now is how much and where is my faith at in Jesus? Because if I'm going to be able to, I got to pull from a strength that's greater than mine. Young people, you will be let down. Your strength will fail you. You won't be quicker than the next one. Right? You won't win every game. You may find out in the next 5 minutes, winning every game is not the most important thing. If you didn't know that already, because the strength comes from another source, we can't lean on our own all the time. This is what I love. You guys, I bet you I know the answer to this. Super Bowl time, right? Last year, Denver. Who were they playing? Carolina. Thank you, young man. Show of hands in this room. I bet I know the answer. I just want to wait. How many pulling for Denver? Oh, come on up higher. Okay, I thought I was close to that. Anybody for Carolina in here? 3 people? About 11 of you were neutral? You probably watched the commercials. Yeah, that's cool. You good? You got it? All right, quick question. Denver won the Super Bowl. Could they have won the Super Bowl if the Carolina Panthers were not in the game? Simple question. Could Peyton Manning have led his team to victory if there was not an opponent on the other side?
No.
Thank you. Hey, dude, this guy's brilliant right here. Because they're not playing anybody. And if they're not playing anybody, they can't win. Can I help all of our competitors out right now? I'm about to help all the competitors out right now. The champion's only the champion because he has a challenger. Hear me. They may lift the trophy at the end and say they're the best. Truth be told, they are only the best because of their opponent that brought the best out of them. Carolina is equally as responsible for the Super Bowl as the Denver Broncos. So for all my Carolina fans, you don't got to feel bad no more. Feel me? All right, now look, here, I'm going to break this all the way down. I'm about to close. I'm a big UFC guy, right? Anybody in here UFC? Mixed martial arts? Nobody? 3 people? Great. All right. Let me help you out, okay? I know it gets graphic and bloody and all that gruesome stuff, but there's an art to it. Here's where I'm going with the art. There's a gentleman in mixed martial arts, Anderson Silva. I followed Anderson Silva for about 10 years. The man didn't lose for 7 years. I mean, he was destroying everybody, but it was all with the art and the skill. One night, about 5-6 years ago, he beat this gentleman fairly handily with spinning stuff and elbows and knees, and it was ridiculous. So after he pummeled this man, right, left him laying on the mat, and it's over, they stand him up. You know how they do, right? You've watched any type of boxing. They got the guy here and then the other fighter here, and they stand him up, and it says, and the winner by unanimous decision, or TKO. I'm trying to do my announcer voice, guys. Come on. And still UFC middleweight champion of the world. And Anderson, the Spider, Silva. And the guy's screaming and going bananas, right? Anderson Silva takes his title, because he's the champ, walks over to the guy he just knocked unconscious, gets on his hands and knees, he lays his belt at his opponent's feet and bows down to him. And I said, what is that all about? What is that? He's not running around, woohoo, I just won. I went back and looked it up and found out what that's all about. And he understood that his opponent is what made him the champion. Isn't that amazing? So as I close tonight, you don't look at your opponents in life as the ones out to get you. You look at them as your gym, as your workout, as your practice, as your conditioning, as the ones that make you stronger, the ones that bring the best out of you. And not only do they bring the best out of you, I know you guys are teammates too. And everybody in here, if you got a family and you sit next to your husband and your wife, you got to understand you work as a unit, as a team. You're not against anybody. You're not fighting against anybody. You're there to bring the best out of each other. And so just like this man said, hey, I'm the champ, but I'm going to lay this at his feet and bow down to him because he brought the best out of me tonight. The truth is, Jesus said these words, and this is where I'll rest this whole talk. He said, if you want to be the greatest in the kingdom, it's the one that's a servant. The one that serves his fellow man. Not the one that takes, not the one that outdoes, not the one that tries to be the champ, not the one that tries to be the elite and the best. It's the one that makes his fellow man better. That's big. So when you on the team, bro, when you on the team, you ain't trying to outdo your teammate. If you want to be the greatest, the way Jesus said be the greatest, it's not you being the superstar of the team. It's you making everybody else around you better. And that's when you start attracting a lot of people that say, I want to play with that dude. Because that dude brings the best out of everybody. I'll leave you with this. It's not how good you are. It's how much better you make other people. That's big time. Got it? Good? Thank you, guys. All right, I'm out. Yeah.